Welcome to the ScreenMDM Talks podcast hosted by me, Manju Daswani. This week our sponsor is MD Media Biz.
Hello, welcome back to the Gen A to Z strand of ScreenMDM Talks. I'm here today with Claudia Scott-Hansen and Rob Bencal, who are the co-founders of Cookbook Media. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. I'm so happy you've joined me because I've been speaking to just sort of a broad array of folks in the kids business to try to get a sense of where the business is going after what has been a challenging couple of years. And I really wanted to talk to you because you've got this both the background of IP development and creation, but also the L&M side as a boutique. And I know you're part of that amazing little collective. I love a collective. I love folks teaming together to help each other out. It's always a good thing. So I've been really excited to talk to you.
Thank you.
So I guess before we start, I think you both know I recently had a career pivot in going from employee to entrepreneur. And it breaks the brain a little bit. It's a bit of a transition. It's a major transition. So take me back to your origin story. What was the gap that you saw in the market? And having come out of the massive companies that you came out of to say, we want to do this as independents.
We had worked together for a long time. When I had started at Hit Entertainment, which was then acquired by Mattel, and Rob had been at Fisher Price, and we had been friends, and we ended up working on the same kind of content strategy team. I was the distribution piece, the content strategy, the international partnerships, and Rob had been on the franchise consumer products strategy side. I went to a few other companies and Rob did too. And he kept saying, we should start our own shingle. And I was like, I don't know. But we got together again. We were looking at the market and where the market was going, I want to say in late 2019. And we really saw this opportunity gap where there were these studios and content creators and IP owners that didn't really make sense for them to have full business development team, full commercial teams for that side of distribution and monetization of their projects, and hiring a full-time team or even partnering with a big agency and kind of handing over that strategic control didn't make sense for everyone. So we thought we could offer that expertise on an as needed basis, a turnkey business development commercial team when you needed it for as long as you needed it to work with you within your team, creating strategies for you and helping you go down that path and build franchises and build your brands.
Probably the most fun thing in the world is working on developing a new IP and the little things that you could put into it to have it connect with an audience, and hopefully it finds success. And how do you build on that success? We, of course, go across the toy industry and consumer products, but also obviously into the entertainment world. And you just having these IPs that are created by teams in rooms, and most of the big ones created by creators, not conglomerates. So being able to help those kinds of people, whether they were studios, big studios, small studios, independent creators, people who had these ideas, and how do they get from idea stage all the way through selling and creating products and creating TV shows. So I think that's something that we always loved. That's our heartbeat of being able to help people in the industry do that and finding success. And as Claudia mentioned, we put together the right business model to allow us to help people like that and really add value to what they were trying to do. And, so that makes it also not only a great business, but also fun to work on all these different projects.
Absolutely. And over the course of these 6 years, you've seen the business peak.
Yeah.
Whew, it was great, right? It was amazing. And then, I know it's rough out there right now, but obviously there are still opportunities. You're still finding great IP that you believe in and want to take on. So give me a sense of, in this landscape where there are millions of ideas out there, really, and on YouTube, there's lots of stuff that you can find. There are so many producers with great ideas. What are some of the things that you look for to say, I think I can make this work across the value chain and for a while?
You're right. There's so much good content out there. There are so many great ideas. We really look for fresh voices, marketability, commercial potential. What's the reason for this show? And does it stand out? Because, the market is reduced. It is a very difficult, it's a difficult path out there. Can you see the path for this new project? We do have this really exciting show that we brought on, Force 5, which was just announced. And when we saw that, that was a typical example of something that we saw that was fresh. It was fun. It was funny. The two creators, Todd Galina and Dave Marshall, they really wanted to channel the energy and fun of their favorite show growing up, which was Voltron. So when we saw it, we're like, oh, we love this. And they had produced a pilot and it just worked so well. And Rob saw it and he could imagine a whole franchise behind it. So it was a rather easy choice for us.
Interesting. Rob, what made it franchisable for you?
I mean, when they hooked me when they said Voltron and Thundercats and a lot of those fun ones. But I think we always go back to a gut check on, our own experiences and how we not only loved content growing up, but also with our families. And when you see these projects that will connect with a lot of different people in many ways and multi-generational, and ones that we feel like just with a little bit of love and TLC and finding the right home and the right partners, we can really create something that a lot of people will enjoy and really build that fandom with people. And I could probably go all day with the vehicles and the different accessories and the good versus evil and all that kind of fun stuff that we do love to see in those types of properties. But those are really the key beats for us that we look for, is just seeing, how it could connect.
Yeah.
So I feel like you've almost already answered my next question, which was about how you need to be thinking 360 from the inception of an idea and not when you're heading into production.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things that we've always said, and we had a saying when we were at Mattel, we're working on properties, and we would see properties get presented to us when we were on the other side of the table, and we would say, "Oh, that's amazing property, but we wish it just would have had this or just would have had that," and it really would have put it over the edge when we were evaluating different properties. And so that's another reason why we kind of do what we do, is because we want to help creators make sure they know these things going in. Where Claudia is telling people, hey, if this is an educational property and it's looking at people like PBS and the BBC, it needs to have these elements. And or if it's going to Netflix, it might have to have this. And same thing, like if you want a toy deal, this is what the Jazzwares and the Just Plays and the Hasbros of the world are going to be looking for. So we do that. And that said, I mean, sure, we always love to, look 360, and we do, but it really depends on the partner. And Claudia has a great line. She always asks partners when we start working with them that, so we really understand what their motivations are. Claudia, what do you always
I ask them,
them?
what are your hopes and dreams? Because there's no one size fits all. Different motivations and different aspirations for each IP. So,
on top of that, no matter what it is, I think our goal is to look at it and say, hey, how can this build fandom? How can we help it build fandom? And then some of those pieces will naturally come out of it. If something is so popular and people love it and want to engage with it, then you could imagine consumer products, or you could imagine a video game, or you could imagine short form content on a platform like TikTok that people want to engage with daily. But it doesn't have to be forced, right? It really needs to come organically.
We've seen a lot of brands emerge from YouTube to become really big on lots of other platforms. How are you looking at the YouTube space, and how do you spot something on YouTube that it's popular now, is going to be popular tomorrow? Like, how do YouTube metrics, I know, are difficult to gauge. You can buy subscribers, you can buy views. How do you look at engagement and sort of value those metrics when you're thinking if you can take something from that ecosystem and make it bigger?
This goes back to our 360 to see its potential. There is so much out there on YouTube. We aim to stay informed, but we're not exactly sourcing through YouTube for a potential partnership. In the case of Choo Choo TV, which is a major partner, we spoke with them because their reach, their IP, and their educational concepts appealed to us. it wasn't because we saw them on YouTube, and we just saw potential to expand them beyond the platform that they were on, as opposed to the other way around. Because
Understood.
oftentimes, you would take a project that isn't on YouTube and expand them on YouTube. This time it was the other way around. We saw so much potential to reach additional audience beyond that platform and really create a franchise from that starting point. And of course, we also work with other partners, on that YouTube piece and on other platforms such as TikTok.
You hear this term always on a lot. Being always on it's expensive. You need a team. When you're talking to your producer partners who have limited resources, how are you advising them on like where you need to be and where you can maybe be a little bit later because you can't really always be
Can't
on?
do everything, right?
Yeah, I know it's always a challenge. Budget is a reality, especially for a lot of people that are looking for green lights. They're looking for funding, or maybe they have it, but the way deals are being done these days, it's not like you're getting rich off that one deal. So you really have to use your money wisely. And that's why we like to work with people up front so we could plan in for those things. And being a boutique agency, I'm sure as you could guess, we try and be as scrappy as we can and as strategic as we can. And so we like to build in some of those things as much as we can into the production that we can use short form later or bring across different platforms, or maybe have ways we're able to do that by turning to partners, who could come in and help us from a franchise perspective and utilize some things that they're doing, or different, kind of ways we could create toy play videos out of narratives and things of that nature, which is always good. We try and build as much of the plan in as upfront, and then also too, you can't do everything, so we try to focus on one or maybe two platforms, see where we could build audience, but make sure we give value to that and make sure that whatever content it is and whatever platform we're on is make sure it has a value to the audience that keeps them coming back. And we've learned a few tricks of the trade over the years where you can take one piece of content and turn it into 5 pieces. So, we leverage those things too.
I know you entered this, what was a tough period for the business, already lean and mean, because as you said, you're a scrappy boutique shop. But I'm curious if there are any particular strategies that you implemented that sort of helped you get through that hump to the point where you can continue to invest in properties and believe in things and look to scale them.
I sometimes joke that in this business, we've had to recently work like 4 times as hard for half as much. And I feel like you have to be willing to do that. And for us, it's really been adaptability and pivoting and staying open-minded and innovating wherever possible. There's no one way anymore to create or launch an IP. You have to work with your partners. You have to be strategic about where it makes sense, where you can build audience where possible. What is the plan? It's not necessarily content first anymore, right? In the past year, we've really focused on strengthening our position. Also, is like building strategic partnerships with YouTube channel management company and also with a digital gaming company to create extensions and maybe launch pads such as Roblox, allowing us to offer kind of an expanded suite of services. So our goal is really to be able to say yes to any client need.
We were lucky enough when we started working with people who we've worked with 10 years before, but now we're out on our own. That's one thing I love about this business and the kids content business in general, that there are so many great relationships. Look, we're all focused on the bottom line, but sometimes those relationships go across having the lowest price or the lowest dollar, and making sure you work with people that can execute, that know the business, that know the right partners, that can deliver, leaning on those relationships. And people have leaned on us for some of those too. And I think that also too has allowed us to thrive and to enter into new areas and explore some different things with people as well.
Yeah, and then in terms of keeping track of what's next, I know it's tough to predict anything because I don't know, right? I thought I knew what was happening tomorrow. I don't know. But obviously there's I know the metaverse was hot for a minute and then it wasn't, but obviously Roblox is still huge. if we sort out the CTV privacy issues, there's a potential to see, I think, shoppable types of ads for
Yeah.
toys and products and all of that. Podcasting, I think, is huge for family viewing as well. There's a lot happening. What are some of the things that you're sort of most focused on as having the potential to perhaps reinvigorate a sector that has been hard hit?
I was at Toy Fair and, talk about an industry where some of the biggest things that have ever happened in the industry come from nowhere and just happen. And even in content, I mean, obviously K-pop Demon Hunters, one of the big stories last year. And I saw a lot of that at Toy Fair this year, right? It's been just little things that just, you're like, oh, I could have thought of that. And all of a sudden it's winning a toy of the year. It's amazing. So there's always surprises everywhere. We experimented in some of those spaces and some worked out, some didn't. We were actually doing some things in the TikTok shop space with brands that we're working with, and how do they get over into that world? And believe it or not, some people are doing really well in that area. And some people are still, finding it new. So maybe we could help bridge the gap for them into that space. If you're a fan and you love this content, or maybe you play this Roblox experience, or you're watching this YouTube channel and now you want to buy the product, those gates are opening now. And I think as hard as it's been for us in the content world in terms of green lights and shows getting into production, it's been just as hard in the consumer products world of getting into major retailers, because there's been a ton of consolidation there. And the beauty is you could have your own Shopify site and Amazon storefront, but then how do you bring people to it? Connecting that kind of social selling and shopping is key. But I think at the end of the day, storytelling is key. No matter what platform it is, I still enjoy watching long form episodes and movies, and my kids do too. But yet they're also watching on TikTok and different platforms and YouTube. The commonality is always storytelling. And if you could tell a great story, and, we've even been getting into like vertical storytelling, which is a hot trend now, right? No matter what, like it's still, impactful. And I think that's the key, making sure you still have that storytelling piece.
And you have some kind of emotional hook and engagement with your audience.
Absolutely. Is there anything else about sort of the road ahead for Cookbook that we have not had a chance to cover that that you wanted to tell me about?
It's the beginning of the year. You're looking at what your priorities are, what our own hopes and dreams will be. We're working with a lot of partners, and it's been an exciting start to the year. Like, now we have a ton of work to do. There's one I wanted to mention that hasn't been mentioned yet, which is kind of a passion project of ours that has really big award dreams. So we'll see. Wish us luck. But it's a short film titled Enormous, and it was written by Stephen Kramer Glickman, who was in Big Time Rush, and he's kind of a multi-hyphenate writer, actor, singer. And we've been working with Mel Brooks and Tony Hale and Ming-Na Wen, just to name a few. We have big hopes for that. That's about to go into production. We have our continuing partnership with the Jim Henson Company, and we're continuing to represent their catalog. As we've talked about, we're bringing new IPs to the market, Force 5 being one of them. We also have True TV and a couple others that will be announced very soon. We have a big announcement coming out, and so we're super excited about that.
Amazing.
And we're even working on a new Brazilian IP, which is exciting for us, and a family holiday movie. So we've got a lot on our plate. So it's a lot of work, but a lot of fun too.
And also working with a couple of brands in the toy space. We're in development and working towards a Roblox experience, which is going to be another form of storytelling that will be a little more 360 franchise storytelling, taking a theme and activating across different platforms for a theme. So that probably is not going to be fully realized till 2027 in the marketplace, but the seeds of it will take place later this year, which is really cool.
Good stuff. No, that is amazing. After what has been really, a lot of people didn't survive it. So to see you guys this busy at the beginning of the year, that's fantastic. Kudos. I love a good indie success story. I really do. I'm hoping to have one of my own soon.
But we'll be here just to we can interview you about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're rooting for you. We want to come back.
Thank you. Please do. I'm doing this again in June. I'm going to do
Oh,
another
nice.
round of Gen A to Z. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's
let's have
great.
a repeat. This was
Great.
so fun. Thank you both for spending
Thank
some time with
you.
me. It was really good.
Thank you.
Thanks so
All
much.
right.
And
Take
thanks for
care.
inviting us.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the ScreenMDM Talks podcast hosted by me, Mantra Daswani. Kate Roach is our VP of Global Ad Sales and Business Development. Production was done by Anand Patel. Musical score performed and composed by Jahan Raymond.